Hi, welcome to another episode of Firm Foundations Podcast with your hosts CJ and Tony. So last week we started chapter 26 in Genesis, and just a quick recap. It's Isaac picking up from where his father left off and building a legacy. And in the process, God is making it Isaac's own legacy, where he's repeating the promises that he gave Abraham to Isaac and making them personal to him. And Isaac is going around continuing the family business, continuing to go around and preach the gospel of the kingdom of heaven as far as they knew it at the time, before they had full understanding of who the Messiah was and what he would do. Based on actually Abraham's last received revelation regarding that, actually they had a pretty decent understanding, an understanding that would be not matched until Isaiah and later on Jesus himself. But he's going around and they're just trying to exist. They're just trying to live and glorify God. And, they're coming against a lot of different opposition. Opposition from the climate, which is a topic that we won't get into, but, people love to talk about that. It's when we go off of those topics and chase down those rabbit holes that, like last week, we go off the rails.
Yes, we did.
But, so there's a famine in the land because of drought. And despite that, Isaac is blessed because he's putting the work in. It's not a blessing just because he sits around, reads a few books, listens to a few sermons, and knows a few nice things to say, and he prays a few well-worded prayers. No, he has a relationship with God, which is the source of his blessing, and then he goes and actually works. He actually puts the work in, and God's blessing is flowing. And that brings up the next opposition, which is the opposition that he faces from the inhabitants of the land that he's living in, that are envious, looking at him and looking at their fields, and they're like, why is he more blessed than us? Why is he reaping a 100-time harvest while we're not getting anything? And they're envious and jealous, so they try to redistribute the wealth. They try to destroy what he built up, because God forbid somebody else is successful when they're not successful. And that's the thing we see a lot in today's culture all around us, where people are envious and jealous and constantly pointing the fingers because he's successful, I'm not successful. It's because we're not putting the work in. If we're not successful, it's because either we don't know what we're doing or how to do it, and we're just not putting the work in.
We're just plain out lazy and don't want to do it and just want the handout.
Exactly. And God forbid we go and learn what we need to do, and God forbid we go and actually sweat and put the work in and get off our tugguses and do something. And that's where we went off the I went off the hinges there last week. If y'all want to go and laugh and maybe learn something from it, or point something out that I said wrong, please go ahead and check it out. It's going to be episode 32. This is going to be episode 33, FYI. But another obstacle he faces is one of his own making, where he lies about his relationship with his wife to the people around him because he wants to protect himself.
Sounds familiar.
like father, like
that apple
son.
did not fall far from the tree. I
Yeah.
don't think it even hit the ground.
Nope, it just sprouted midair. But Lord help us all. But you know, and in that he shows that he's a lot like us, right? Because when we face trouble, we try to do the same thing. We try to take matters in our own hands and fix it based on our understanding, based on our judgment, based on our wisdom. And that doesn't always, in fact, many times, does not end with anything good coming out of it. But that's where we left off, right? We discussed how the ancient Philistines, the actual Philistines, were a model of, an example of what we see today in the so-called Palestinian Arab invasion of the Promised Land, and what they did in 2005 when Israel completely disengaged from Gaza by going around and destroying the greenhouses that Israelis built and left for them to use. They left them when they evacuated Gaza. They left those there, and what did the Arabs do? They destroyed them instead of feeding their own people, instead of putting it to use and building something out of it. They just destroyed it, just like the Philistines in that day did. And in that way, they're a lot like people all around us today, even in America, in Canada, in Britain, in Germany, in France.
Everywhere.
Just everywhere. Pick a place and look around. People are doing the same thing today. Instead of building one another up, instead of serving one another, they're destroying each other. They're slandering one another, and well, there's no blessing that comes out of that. And so that's where we left off, and now we're going to continue with the chapter 26, starting in verse 17, 18, and let's do
We'll
this.
see how this goes. All right. Then Isaac departed from there and pitched his tent in the valley of Gerar and dwelt there. And Isaac dug again the wells of which they had dug in the days of Abraham his father, for the Philistines had stopped them up after the death of Abraham. He called them by the names which his father had called them. Also Isaac's servants dug in the valley and found a well of running water there. But the herdsmen of Gerar quarreled with Isaac's herdsmen, saying, "The water is ours." So he called the name of the well Esek, because they had quarreled with him. Then they dug another well, and they quarreled over that one also. So he called its name Sitnah. And he moved from there and dug another well, and they did not quarrel over it. So he called its name Rehoboth, because he said, "For now the Lord has made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land." Now, these wells that Abraham had dug, this is another Philistines go and fill these wells in. Here they go again, destroying something that they could use. So, Isaac's, if they're not going to use it, we'll use it. But then they get angry and call it their well. And, and as you said earlier, last episode or maybe one before, Isaac is more of a peacemaker than he is willing to go to war, which he probably would have had full rights to do so. Yeah. Probably had the men to do it. Yeah. Like you said, his father had an army, and I'm sure, it was kept up as far as, when men come to age, they join the army or whatever. But these guys are, again, cutting their nose off to spite their face.
Yeah.
Because they destroy something and somebody fixes it, and then they demand it back. You didn't want it in the first place.
Yeah.
And as you said, they're jealous. I have nothing else.
I mean,
That's just stupid.
this is the way of the world. People, the masses, do not like to work. Do not like to work. Do not want to put work in, and they also get jealous and envious, and they want to be spoon-fed. They want to be. Some are born with silver spoons in their mouths. Mm-hmm. Some wish that they were born with silver spoons in their mouths, and some are actually going out and making those silver spoons that people are coveting over to stick in their mouths. Abraham was one that made the silver spoon. Isaac was one of the few examples we ever see in history of someone actually going out and continuing to make the silver spoons. Like, that's one thing in modern history, we have plenty of examples of that. If we look around, we'll see them, like the Vanderbilts and other robber barons that, the father builds an empire and the children and the grandchildren just squander it all away. Mm-hmm. Isaac's not one of those guys. He's continuing to build a legacy, build wealth, and people need to understand. I mean, this is not a finance show. This is not a trade show. We're not, focusing on those stuff. But it's part of life. It's part of reality, and where the Lord actually has a lot to speak about when it comes to money and wealth creation. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the examples of that, where we can learn from the Word of God and say, if you want anything, you have to go out and make it happen. You have to hustle, in today's parlance. You have to, there's no other way to say it. You just have to put the work in. You have to learn a trade, learn something, figure out a way of making something happen, and then execute. You have to learn a trade. You have to come up with a plan, and then you have to execute the plan. And all three of those parts require a level of competence. If people don't have that competence, if they don't have the confidence of knowing something, they gravitate towards socialism and communism. Mm-hmm. And that's what we see in the coastal cities these days, from New York to LA, even Chicago. Doesn't have to be a saltwater body around to be infected by that same virus. And you can see the connection just by looking at the originator of the modern communist idea. Karl Marx never held a job in his life, never did anything productive in his life, but he talks about the means of production. What do you know about the means of production? What are you talking about? You never produced anything. You have never gotten off your sorry little bum and done anything. And hundreds of millions of people around the world are following his ideas. Why? Because people tend to listen to people who think like them. Worthless people listening to worthless people. Financially speaking. I'm not saying people are worthless in the sense that, let's all just get rid of them, end them, and, mass concentration camps and stuff like that. That's not what I'm talking about. People are created in God's image and they're valuable. They have an intrinsic value, each and every single person. But I'm talking about as far as their skill sets, their mental capabilities, their moral compasses. That's what I'm talking about. And we've gone off the rails again already.
Well, that's the best part about doing this show is it's not just reading it.
Yeah.
We can go off the rails. We can chase a rabbit. We can whatever. Because in reality, that's how life is.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
So if we go off the rails, ride with us.
Yeah. Just
Might be some fun. There is one thing I wanted to point out. Has nothing to do with what we were reading here.
okay.
But in America, today is Labor Day. This is Labor Day. The biggest, most oxymoron holiday in America. Labor Day. There should be, if you want to call it something, call it non-Labor Day.
I know.
Because
Right?
nobody has to work today. Well, it's a national holiday. Most people are off. Of course, you do have your.
Yeah. And this is the American version of May 1st, which is the International Labor Day.
Oh, okay. I was like,
And it's something that the communists came up with. So again, in the spirit of, like, we're talking about communism and socialism and its ancient counterpart, and how people love communism because they hate working, and we're celebrating Labor Day by not working.
I mean,
It's insanity.
yeah, it's just like jumbo shrimp. Military intelligence. That's another oxymoron. Anyway, I digress.
Yeah, yeah.
Get back to where we were. Get back to the rabbit trail, and then we'll get back to what we were talking about.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all connected. That's why it tickles me when people say that the Bible has nothing to say about real life. We're talking about real life right now, aren't we? Mm-hmm. And we're talking about it coming through a biblical passage. Yeah, if unfortunately only a small portion of our viewers are youth, but if you're young and you're watching this, please stop listening to people that are lazy, that don't get out of their Snuggies and their PJs. I mean, if somebody doesn't get out of their PJ to go to Walmart, perhaps they don't have anything to say about work and how things should be distributed or redistributed. Yeah. Let's protect our hearts against envy and jealousy and sloth, laziness. Let's be like an ant, not like a grasshopper, as the old story goes. All right.
Oh, let's get back on here.
Yeah, let's get back.
They go and fill these wells. What do you suppose the purpose of them filling these wells? Because they wanted to get rid of his legacy, Abraham's legacy, or it's,
I mean, where it
they
comes.
could have used those wells, like they could have used the greenhouses, but yet they've destroyed them. You can't really destroy a well other than filling it in, but
Envy has no logic. So, I mean,
okay.
why? It's just because they couldn't stand Abraham, just because they couldn't stand Isaac, just because of baseless hatred. And now we can talk about racism. You know what I'm saying? Like, this passage goes in so many different directions. And we could chase down so many different rabbit trails. Mm-hmm. But when people act out of envy, jealousy, and hatred, there's no logic to it. It doesn't make any sense. When somebody says, oh, the left is blah blah, and they don't really have and they're just saying it because that's what they heard, there's no logic in it. You can't really argue with it because they're arguing from a place of emotion. When somebody says, oh, the MAGA blah blah, like Rosie O'Donnell the other day when there was that mass shooting in Minneapolis again with the transgender shooter shooting up the Catholic
Catholics.
school. Even though all the information was already out, she was blaming Trump supporters. White Trump supporters did. No, it was a white guy that pretended to be a woman. He's a liberal. He's a transgender person. And everywhere on his rifle and on his magazines, he wrote, "Kill Trump now." Not a Trump supporter. And despite that, she came out with what she came out. And then just recently she had to make another video apologizing for it. Of course, you look at her eyes and she has the eyes of a shark. Dead, soulless. I'm not saying that she's soulless, but that's what it reminds me of. And
Well,
Philistia was full of Rosie O'Donnells.
the mentality of people is, I think the governor or somebody, one of the Democrats, talked about it was prayer that caused this. I can't remember who said that. It was like, how stupid can people be? You know, I have nothing against Democrats other than the fact they're not Republicans. No, just kidding. Just kidding. I love Democrats just as much as I love Republicans because Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself, and everybody is your neighbor.
Yeah.
But I just wish they would look at things in reality instead of, what would be a good word for it without being mean? If you had your head screwed on straight and looked at what is going on and the perversion of what's going on in this country and other countries, it's not just us, but we hear it a lot because this is where we live.
Yeah.
But the perversion of what people have done, just like we were warned in this book, that people are starting to call evil good and good evil.
Yeah.
And I'm not apologizing. I'm not saying I'm sorry about this, but the Democrats are doing just that.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that are supporting transgenderism, the LBGKXZMYW, whatever letter you want to put before a person who was born as a male and a female.
How dare you say that? He was born as a woman in the wrong body.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm done.
But, I mean, look, we can,
We could go on all day with this.
oh yeah, can of worms. It's open.
Yes.
Thank you, Lord. But, and to be perfectly honest, and look, just to put this out there, if you haven't figured it out yet, I am a registered Republican. Voted Republican all my life because they were the voice of reason in most cases. But, you know, in my later years, I've come to realize what others have previously said. How do you know a politician is lying? Well, their lips are moving. So there's plenty of stuff wrong on the Republican side too, and I don't want this to turn into a Republican Democrat deal. I don't mind if it turns against capitalist against communist. I don't mind if it turns into freedom against tyranny. You know, those are valid and worthy debates. Labels are where it becomes unworthy and, you know, watered down, because, you know, while the Republican position on immigration is misportrayed and twisted in the news, there are some in the camp that actually are anti-immigrants, and that's wrong. We've talked about this plenty of times before. One of the reasons why God judged Sodom and Gomorrah was their anti-poor, anti-immigrant, anti-humanity stance. And if we follow in their steps, we will also experience the same judgment. It wasn't just because they like to, oh Lord, I almost said something. It wasn't just because of their sexual preferences. It wasn't just because of this, that, and the other. It was a comprehensive problem with their hearts and minds that included a hatred for the foreigner and a hatred for the poor, a hatred for the widow and a hatred for the orphan. And, you know, sometimes the way we frame things, politically speaking, on the right is approaching that level of moral corruption. And let's be honest. So, if nothing else, you know, even if you don't like us because we rail against your favorite liars, we're going to rail against our own liars too. So, you know, equal judgment of all liars.
Yeah. And just to make things clear, please understand, we do not hate anyone.
No.
If you are gay or lesbian, trans, whatever you want to call it, we do not hate you personally. No. We hate the sin, and we'd like to help you understand where that says it in here. And you're always free to send us a letter or email us, or, you know, but understand we're not judging you, especially if you are a non-Christian, if you're not a believer. We don't judge you because you judge yourself. That's just the facts. But, you know, just make sure you understand we do not hate you. We love you just as much as we love anybody else. But it's the sin that we are trying to make you understand, help you understand why we come against certain beliefs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Get back on track here.
Get back on track.
And we are on verse 23. Then he went up from there to Beersheba, and the Lord appeared to him. Here we go. Appeared to him the same night. So, you know, I just want to make clear he is standing there with him because he's appeared to him. He didn't speak to him, but he appeared to him the same night and said, "I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not fear, for I am with you. I will bless you and multiply your descendants for my servant Abraham's sake." So he built an altar there and called on the name of the Lord, and he pitched his tent there, and there Isaac's servants dug a well. So he appeared. What is the purpose? Is it just to reassure him what's going on? That he's continuing on this, if you want to call it, legacy of following the Lord and understanding that, you know, he made the promise to his father, and he's going to continue this promise, not to give up.
Yeah, that's definitely it. But he could have just spoke to him. Why appear? That's getting to the core of your question. If we pay attention, we notice that there are times when God just speaks to someone, and those tend to be to provide simple guidance, go get up and do this. But when things get tough, when things get hard, when things are at a tipping point or a fork in the road, when somebody might choose to go in a different direction, God appears. It's kind of like an added emphasis. Like, this is important enough that I'm coming to you in person, face to face, to sit down and have this conversation. It is imperative that you don't go down to Egypt, so I'm appearing to you. It's imperative that you don't give up on this legacy that we're trying to build together, because it's not just Abraham and Isaac trying to build this legacy. It's God's project that they are partnering in. And God is making sure that his project managers, his partners in this endeavor, are staying committed, that they are continually, spiritually, mentally, emotionally strengthened and kept fight ready and fight worthy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in the meantime, before we go on, I guess I should, and thank you for the reminder. If our trail blaze, not trailblazing.
Not trailblazing.
That's not the right.
Rabbit chasing.
If our rabbit chasing, good, thank you, is giving you anything, a laughter, a chuckle, food for thought, if our conversations are giving you any kind of benefit, please consider liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, because in doing so you can become our partner, and we can take the gospel and the knowledge of the Word of God to the nations together. Because when the almighty algorithm looks at the engagement, the views, the repostings or the sharings, the comments, it goes, okay, I need to promote this video. I need to promote this channel to more people because people are enjoying it. Because YouTube just wants people to stay on YouTube and watch all day. YouTube wants to be the go-to place for people with time on their hands to kill. And we would like to be the people that bring something of eternal value, so that people aren't just watching silly cat videos and whatnot. Nothing wrong with that. They're funny. We all doom scroll when we go to the bathroom and, look at stuff, laugh, and go on with our lives. But we would like to provide something more than that. And your help, your support in the said manner is key. Also, we're not too stuck up and prideful to not learn from you. So if we say something wrong, if you have a different view, or if you have something to add, we would love to hear from you and learn from you. We sincerely believe that God has given everybody a measure of understanding, a measure of wisdom, and that we can all learn from one another, and we should learn from one another. And that's why we don't discriminate based on denominations either. We love our Catholic brethren, we love our Orthodox brethren, we love our Messianic Jewish brethren, we love our Presbyterian brethren, if I dare say. Methodist, Baptist, it doesn't matter. And we all have something to learn and teach to and from one another.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. We're verse 26. Then Abimelech came to him from Gerar with Ahuz. You want to say that one?
Who's that?
That's just weird. And one of his friends, Phicol, the commander of his army. And Isaac said to them, Why have you come to me, since you hate me and have sent me away from you? But they said, we have certainly seen that the Lord is with you. So we said, let there be an oath between us, between you and us, and let us make a covenant with you, that you will do us no harm, since we have not touched you, and since we have done nothing to you but good, and have sent you away in peace. You are now the blessed of the Lord. I'll tell you what, since we've done nothing to you, except filling your wells and then stealing back after you dig them out.
Yeah.
Okay. So he made them a feast, and they ate and drank. Then they arose early in the morning and swore an oath with one another. And Isaac sent them away, and they departed from him in peace. It came to pass the same day that Isaac's servants came and told him about the well which they had dug, and said to him, we have found water. So he called to Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba to this day. I know I stopped in mid. Are you really serious that we've done no wrong to you? We filled in your wells. Who cares? No big deal. You dug them back out. We're good to go.
Again, it's
The mentality.
the mentality and the parallels to modern economic and political environment in the U.S. is staggering. All around the world, really. It's just staggering because we have done nothing wrong. But like you pointed out, we dug up your wells. We chased you out of town. Like New York City has lost billions of dollars of revenue because businesses have left, because billionaires have left, because they can. If you tell me that you're going to charge me 50% of my earnings, how is that fair? I don't care how rich or poor anyone is. It's not fair. I'm going to work 2 days. One day I'm going to give it to you. One day I'm going to get to keep for myself. That's slavery in any way you put it. Slavery under a different name. There we go. Like California.
Oh wow, they're losing them by the hundreds.
And the governor had the gall to say, no, California's population is growing considerably. But then you look at the numbers, and even with immigration and natural growth, i.e. childbirth, the number of people in California is stagnant because all of those who can, all of those who have papers proving their citizenship or their legal status in the U.S. are fleeing. So all you got population growth wise are babies and illegal immigrants.
Neither one of those pay taxes.
Neither one pays taxes, so who's going to keep the economy going? Sure, they have the fourth or the sixth, whatever, largest economy in the world if they were a separate country. Well, how much longer is that going to last? Tech giants this year so far have let go of tens of thousands of employees. They were the ones paying the taxes. Who's going to pick up the slack? Chicago they gave out hundreds of millions of dollars to illegal immigrants, and now they have a 1 billion dollar shortfall in their city budget. A city budget with over $1 billion of shortfall. You chase people out and then you wonder why, and then you villainize them, demonize them. At least the king of Gerar, Abimelech, had the mind to actually go and say, kind of sorry, not really, but we're cool, right? At least he went to make peace and try to make sure that Isaac wasn't gonna make a move against him. These brainiacs today don't even have that level of mental capacity.
Well, the problem is because we have separated ourselves so much from each other with Democrat and Republican that there is no commonality between us. If you're a Republican, we hate you because we know you back Trump. Trump is doing a good job as president. Do I like Trump on a personal basis? I think he's arrogant, prideful,
Pervert.
Yeah, but he is turning the country around to in a better sense than where it came from. Well, I know he's wanting to push to go for another term. Not going to happen.
Not gonna happen.
But I wonder what's going to happen to this country on the next election.
Yeah. It's
Because
scary.
if you look at it, I bet people from other countries look at us and say America's starting to do better. And if you would have asked them that in the Biden time, they probably would have said we're doing better, because in the Biden era, America was going down in the dumps.
Yeah, I mean, I watch a lot of YouTube channels, especially foreign channels. New Zealand, Australia, British, Israeli, Turkish, and they were all making fun of Biden. Heck, the Australians, they're making fun of him till this day. They have not let it up at all. And but everybody has nothing to say other than good things about Trump. And like you pointed out, he has his flaws as a person. And like I pointed out, one of them is he's, well, promiscuous man. He has his sexual sins that he's committed in the past that we know of, and
But who hasn't sinned? And I'm not justifying his sin, because
No.
if you go back and look at King David,
yeah,
murder and adultery right on the same day. Well, not same day, but you know what I'm saying. If it's getting to this political part, if it's a Republican and if he filled a glass of water the wrong way, they're going to put him down for it.
oh yeah,
But if it's a Democrat and he fills the glass with water and it overflows for a few months and wastes all the water, well, it's because of Trump.
yeah, and foreign channels are praising Trump for what he's doing and making fun of Democrats for their obstructionist attempts. And how do we get on this?
I don't know. That's
Talking
another wrap.
about Avimelech and what he's doing now to bridge the gap between him and Isaac now, and make peace with him, right? At least he had the common decency and mental acuity to realize that he messed up and he needed to make amends. And that reminds me of the mayor of DC. Before the National Guard troops arrived, she was no, talking negatively about it, saying never, it's not going to happen, it's illegal, blah, blah, blah. And now, just a couple days ago, she said, yeah, crime's down. Thank you, Mr. Trump. So, at least she has the common sense. Maybe there's hope for DC after all. Hopefully we can get the National Guards out of DC and return it back to a purely civilian rule. And hopefully they'll be more commonsensical about the way they conduct business. Something we can't say about Portland.
Well, I won't jump on this soapbox very much, but because America has softened on capital punishment, there's where the big problem is right there.
Yep.
Too many bleeding hearts. But
yeah.
I'll not go on that one.
But that's the point of studying the Bible, to learn how to conduct our lives today, to gain wisdom with regards to real life today. And that's why we bring up different issues and political topics, because it is part of life. Politics, economics, these touch every life, and we have to engage with it. So separation of church from state is a mirage. It's a lie. And we just got to be cognizant of that fact. And that's why we study the Bible. It's not just some useless trivia. It's not a endeavor of, I have free time on my hands, so let me kill some time. It's not just, oh, there's some cute or neat or pleasant stories in here, let me pass some time. It's God, His wisdom, and our life, and how we put it together. What do we learn from our fathers, from our ancestors? The deeds of the father are a sign for the children. And so it's going to touch on everything. It's going to touch on sexuality. It's going to touch on economics. It's going to touch on theology. It's going to touch on politics. It's going to touch on every part of our life. And just hang in there with us. By the way, would you like to remind everybody about the thing we're trying to do?
Shirts?
Yeah.
Shirts? Okay. Shirts? Yeah, so if you would like for us to advertise your church, your synagogue, please send us a shirt or a hat. We will wear it probably several times in episodes for free promotion. Let us know where your church is at, what the address is, what your email is, everything that can be told about your church. Let us know. We'll put it on our Facebook. Like I said, I'm a large, he's a double X. We'd love to wear your shirt. We'd love to wear your hat to promote your church, so that more people can come to your church and receive the gospel of who Jesus Christ really is, why He came to this earth, why He gave Himself up for our sins, and rose again on the third day. Those are the basics, the most important basic things to know as a Christian. We haven't had, we've promoted our church. We have our T-shirt, and we're hoping to get some more areas around here. We are planning to have our pastor within the next few episodes, we hope, to come on and join us for a rap session. We gave him free reign, whatever he wants to discuss. It doesn't necessarily have to be in line with what we're doing on Genesis. We gave him anything he wants, and I think it'll be quite interesting.
And, to that point, I'm sure we can both agree that if there's a pastor or a messianic rabbi or whoever out there who is a faithful, who faithfully believes in basic biblical doctrine, the core tenets of our faith, we would love to have them on for special episodes. And same thing, give them a free reign on topic that they can choose, and we can have a dialogue and discussion on that. And that could also be an opportunity for y'all to promote your church and promote the gospel together. That's what we're about. So if you are local, or if we can somehow figure out how to do long distance phone and kind of conversations, give us a call. If you know how to do that stuff, let us know. Teach us, because
we don't have the technology on that yet.
we're knuckle draggers. We're he's a lot handier than I am, and I barely know how to turn a computer on. So, we're
I think it's the other way around. He knows how to turn. I am a handyman, physical.
well, that's why I say you're a handy
Yeah.
person, and I am just I'm
you're the
not
tech
as
guru.
handy as you.
You're the tech guru
Oh God,
more than I am.
a tech startup with me at the head would be
So,
horrible. Tech guru does
if
not
you're
apply.
interested in joining us, being part of this crew, the pay is great. We double our pay every day.
Yep.
0 plus 0 is plus 0.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to join us and not worry about having the bother of being paid,
Let us know.
come on down. Let's go ahead and finish.
Yeah. Let's go
We
ahead
got
and
two
finish.
more verses here. Verse 34, when Esau was 40 years old, he took as wives Judith, the daughter of Beri, the Hittite, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. And they were a grief of mind to Isaac and Rebekah. I find these last two verses, they just seem like they're out of place from what we've been discussing, and it's just kind of like thrown in there as some information that is somewhat it just seems out of place. And I know you've got more to share on this, because to me it's like, okay, so he's married these two girls, and he's being a pain in the neck to Isaac and Rebekah.
Yeah.
Being the word, what's the word? Don't know the word, but he is just being that way.
Yeah. I mean, in chapter 25, we already saw that the phrase introducing Esau as a skillful hunter was a little more than what met the eyes. It's also a kind of like a hint towards his personality. That he loves to, instead of working around the house and, helping his parents, he wants to go outside, be away from all responsibility, and
Do his own thing.
do his own thing. Yes, he's skillful in hunting. Yes, he knows the way of the prey. But he does so he can get away from his daily responsibilities. He does so. It's kind of like the guy that, gets up and instead of feeding his parents, his family's herd, just gets up and frolics around in the forest and,
Frolic.
sits on top of a deer stand pretending to hunt. But all he's really doing is, you know, daydreaming about what he could do if he was just not bothered by his parents. If only people would leave him away. It's kind of that kind of a personality. And his actions, he has no respect for legacy and inheritance and God and family. He does not care about anything about himself and what he wants in the moment. He's all about immediate gratification. He was the microwave generation before the microwave was invented. You know, he wants it now. J.G. Wentworth.
Sure.
It's my money and I want it now. If you remember those commercials.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of guy Esau is. And Isaac's the polar opposite. And now we're given another clue. Not only is he running away from personal responsibilities and responsibilities to his family, but he's actively going out and finding ways to disappoint them. How he's a 40-year-old teenager. Mm-hmm. All he wants to do is cause as much pain and misery for his family as possible. And that's what's hinted at here. He gets 2 wives, and both of them are Hittite. Both of them are, you know, there as foreigners, just like them. But, so he's low standard.
Is this like being spiteful? Sort of like
yes.
with the Philistines filling in the wells.
Yeah, it's the same spirit.
Mm-hmm.
But it also tells us something else about him. It tells us that the local population didn't care about him either. So he couldn't get girls from the Canaanites mm-hmm. or from the Philistines. He married 2 sojourning foreigners also. Like, those were the only 2 eligible women for him that he could hitch. And it tells us that, so they were from a lower class and they couldn't find better opportunities either, marriage opportunities. So they settled for him and he settled for them. Mm-hmm. And his main motivation is, let me cause problems for my parents. Like, my dad loves me, but I'm going to tick him off. I'm going to cause him. And another thing is, it says grief of mind in our NKJV translation. But the Hebrew actually says spiritual grief. So that also hints at not only were they lower class, and I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. I'm just saying, like, if you have the opportunity, you're going to marry somebody that's better educated, that is wealthier. It makes life easier, right? That's how people act. That's how people operate. They look for someone that matches their status in life, so that there's less trouble, less trouble within the family, and so they can secure a future, and they can secure their children's future, and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's not a character judgment on necessarily when I say lower class, but it's just he was good for nothing, and those women would have been from a family that could only marry someone that was good for nothing. So that, because if they could marry someone else, they would have. Because nobody wants to marry no one with a sound mind and sound judgment would want to marry someone that's good for nothing. Simple stuff.
Birds of the feather flock together.
Yes, there's another way of saying that comes to my mind. That's why I try to avoid saying that, because inevitably it's going to come out the other way.
Oh yeah.
But it also hints at that, Abraham and Isaac, wherever they go, they invite people to worship God and put away their idols. These women were a source of spiritual grief. So they were idol worshippers. That means Esau was an idol worshiper.
Well, he's always had a lot of. Seems like he's always had a lot of anger. Even before he sold his birthright.
Yeah.
And since he's sold his birthright, whether he's even realized what he's done, I mean, he may have just thought, yeah, whatever. Because we're going to find out, next chapter, what goes on, and maybe this is. Go ahead and finish what you were saying, and then I want to ask you a question.
I think I was finished. For the most part.
It's kind of odd to me that Abraham has Ishmael, his firstborn, and then he has Isaac, who is maybe on a legal standpoint the secondborn, and then Isaac has Esau and Jacob. Esau's the firstborn. Jacob is the secondborn. So is there a pattern with this?
Oh yeah.
Because you always hear it's the firstborn that has the responsibility, that receives the most. They're going to carry on the legacy. But we see Isaac. Now, yes, Isaac was the firstborn to Sarah. But we don't go by the mothers. We go by the fathers.
Yeah.
On a normal basis, if you want to call that. So Isaac was the secondborn, and now Jacob is the secondborn.
We're going to see the same thing in the third generation. We're going to see the same thing, because then
I didn't want to do a spoiler alert, but
yeah, that's the story of the Bible. It's a meritocracy. It's not a aristocracy. God is not a respecter of persons. He doesn't care whether you're the firstborn or the lastborn or the middleborn, whether you're highborn or lowborn. He doesn't care about that. He cares about who has the spiritual wherewithal to carry on and partner with God in God's plans, in the legacy that God is building. That's all he cares about. And we're going to see the same thing when it comes to Jacob's children.
On down the line. I mean, there's a few firstborns. We got Moses was the firstborn. No, he was secondborn if you count his sister. But his first male.
Was he? I can't remember if Aaron was older than him or not.
I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out pretty soon.
Yeah.
And of course, King David, he was last.
Yeah. Solomon wasn't the first.
So as you were saying, he's no respecter of person. He's looking for the ones who will continue what he's needing done.
Yeah.
To reach the point. Now we know Jesus was firstborn, of course. Yeah. And there's reasons behind that, but I didn't want to spoil anything, but I was just noting out a pattern.
Yeah, we're not giving the rest of the plot away just yet, but like you said, there is a pattern. Mm-hmm. There is a pattern, and it's beautiful for us because society tells us that we're not of the higher class, so we have no business doing certain things, or that we're not of the right skin color. We're not brown enough. We're not black enough, or we're not white enough, or we're not purple enough. I don't know. Maybe we're not Smurf enough. But you're not rich enough. You're not educated enough. And God says, I don't care of any of that. All I care about is your heart. Do you love me? I love you. Will you follow me? Because I want to show you whole new worlds. And no, God's name is not Aladdin. But the world has things backwards. And God is showing us that, no. In the end, it's not who the world says it should be. It's the man or woman after my own heart that will be. So, if you feel downtrodden, if you feel like a castaway, if you feel like undesirable, untouchable, if you're a Hindu somewhere and you're a pariah, guess what? God loves you. The one who created the heavens and the earth. The one who created all the gods that men have worshipped over the years, over the millennia. The one who hung the stars. The one who firmed the soil beneath our feet. The one who rains the rain and shines the sun. He loves you. And he cares about you. And he has a plan for you. And he is inviting you on the adventure of your life. What say you?
You know, there's a song from Carmen. I don't know the title of it. I'll try to find out. But he was talking about the stars, you know, and how people love astrology and horoscopes. And in his song, he was talking about you don't need to look to the stars to find out your future. You can look to the one who made those stars. You know, because that's an example of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Gods, you know, people looking at other gods, but the one who made these stars is the one who you need to be following, not someone who's made up other gods.
Yeah.
Just a
Yeah. The one who created Vishnu and Krishna and Buddha and Allah and whoever else. Do you know him? One of my favorite sermons ever is from a black preacher from early 1900s. Shadrach Meshach Lockridge, S.M. Lockridge. And it's he goes through different parts of the identity of God and the Messiah. And he goes, "This is my king. Do you know him?" And if you have a chance, it's all over YouTube. You can find it. S.M. Lockridge, "This is my king." Do yourself a favor. Find it. Listen to it. There's short, like 5 to 20 minute clips of it. And there's the whole sermon. The whole sermon is a little problematic, to be honest, because of certain things I personally disagree with. But you know what? I still love the man because he still loves God. He still loves Jesus, and he has the basics down pat. So we can agree to disagree and not hate one another, and that's why I am wholeheartedly encouraging everyone to go check that sermon out. Beautiful. One of the most powerful sermons you will ever listen to. But that's it for today, right?
I think
Unless
that
you
wraps
have
it
something
up. We've finished 26, so we're going to be chugging along next
next
episode.
week. chapter
I
27.
can't wait to get to Exodus.
I love the Old Testament. I love the New Testament. I love the Old Testament, but I love Genesis because it provides the foundation for everything to come. But also it yields itself to really discover who the people were, their characters, unlike much of the rest of the Bible. There's so many individuals we talk about, and there's no details on them in the rest of the Bible for the most part. But well, not every person we talk, but a lot of people are named, and then they disappear with no further information. But Genesis, it's like making a roux and then a gumbo, and then just like cooking it for hours and days and just slow burning. It's like a good old barbecue. It's just by the time you get through it, it's like, oh God, this is so good. But yeah. Well, God bless you, and see you next time.
Shalom.